Hello and welcome to another Baggie Brothers video. Today we're talking best 11s where we speak to content creators and ex-players about their all-time Albion 11. And today we are joined by Bucket Hat Sam. Sam, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, lads. Are you all right?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, doing good. If you're not familiar with Sam's work, then you should definitely head over to his YouTube channel, Bucket Hat Sam, where he does game week predictions and all sorts of things with leagues all over the world as well. You're planning on talking about as well. But we've obviously got you on to speak about our beloved West Brom.
Yeah, sadly, our beloved West Brom at the moment.
Yes. It's the reason this series exists is because we're trying to keep it a bit lighter during the season while all of us are just
Lift
miserable
morale.
every weekend. We're all miserable, so this is just a cheer us up with the good old days.
I was going to say, last 2 weeks have been quite nice, haven't they? With the
They have, yeah.
international break.
It's been a blessing in disguise. Just no games to moan about. It's been great.
Exactly.
It's been nice. Let's jump into this team though. So you've gone for a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice modern formation. Let's start at the back. Who have you gone for as goalkeeper?
For me, there was two mentions, but it was Ben Foster really, and I remember him just for consistency really. He was consistently our best player, wasn't he, for quite a few seasons really, and he's gone on to big things. That he's done well at Watford. He did well at Man United. And I absolutely loved him at West Brom. For me, he was one of my favourite players. And he won Player of the Season, didn't he? Was it a couple of seasons? Yeah. I don't think we've seen a keeper since. Johnston is a good keeper, but I still don't. I compare everyone now, and I think I always will compare people to Ben Foster. And his kick was just insane. That was the one thing I remember. That long kick he used to when Shane Long would go around the back, he could kick it the full length of that pitch. It was just brilliant shot stopper. I love him.
There's all the cycling. That's how he got the power in his legs.
Yeah.
It's all the cycling.
Must be, yeah.
Absolute rockets.
No.
Yeah, I get sad though watching his YouTube channel. Kind of missing him, to be honest. But hey ho, there's nothing you can do really.
Well, we've said a couple of times, but it does sort of turn, especially West Brom fans. We've all sort of become secondary Watford fans just because of him. Watching him talking about the games and everything, you can't help but love the guy, and he's kind of a local lad to the club as well. So, yeah.
I was going to say, and it really melted my heart this week. He was on a podcast that I listened to last week, and they asked him which club he loved playing for the most, and West Brom was mentioned straight away. And I was in tears, to be honest. I just miss him.
It's good.
Sitting there crying, going,
come back.
Just come back.
Do you know what? He'd still do a job for another couple of seasons, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know he's back. He's fit at Watford now, but I know he'd been injured for a while, and he's second choice keeper at the moment. He can't get back into the start 11. So this is me calling out to him. Ben, come back, please.
when we're in the Championship next year, he can come back.
He'd kill it in the Championship. Well, he had done for Watford before his injury.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. Great first choice.
Let's progress into this defence then. Who are we going to start? Start off with your right back.
Start off right back. Right back, I had to have a bit of a think about this. And I don't think we've been blessed with too many brilliant right backs in my time. In the last, say, 10, 15 years is my time. So not many great ones. And I kind of really wanted to get Craig Dawson in this team. I know under Pulis, it took him a while to convert into the right back. But as a defender, he was absolutely brilliant. Like the goals he scored as well, and he's doing so well at West Ham now. And again, makes me sad, but he was unreal. That one season when we were under Pulis and he scored every week from corners, it was absolutely unreal. I loved him, and he was rock solid. He never seemed to be injured. He was always there. He was one of the first names on the team sheet in that era, and I absolutely loved him. He was one of my favourite players.
Yeah, I think, like you say, when he was banging in goals, there was a period of time where he was our top goal scorer for a season. Yeah. I mean, we've had a couple of seasons where defenders have been, top goal scorers, but that was kind of like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that was when he was absolutely killing it. I remember right at the very start, I think it was Rochdale. Was it Rochdale we got him from, or somebody like that? I know he used to play. He used to play for the England under 21s. I remember he was the penalty taker. And I remember him scoring quite a few and thinking, oh, this guy's going to bag the goals in when he came through. And he didn't really start off too great, but I think he did. He was hiding in the shadow, wasn't he? He wasn't really going to play as a centre back with the kind of centre backs we had in that time. I think it was some of our best centre backs, but I think he did a good shift playing right back. An honourable mention, I used to really like Billy Jones. I really liked him as a player, but yeah, I think Dawson just edged it for me.
No, nice. Yeah, totally understandable. Let's move into centre backs. Let's go for your first of your two centre back choices. Who are we going for there?
Centre back, well, the first one on the team sheet, and he's my all-time favourite West Brom player, Jonas Olson. There was no discussion. I know he wasn't great passing out from the back, and but I loved him. I loved the blocks. I remember he was on every header, blocking everything. And I always thought he wore his heart on his sleeve. Like you could really see he was there every game, and you could see he was just ready to. He looked like he was always going to snap. I used to always think watching him play. And he got brilliant left foot. And again, he got quite a few goals. These first two defenders bagging in the goals here. That's where the goals are coming from so far.
They were doing in our current team. We shot those boys in. That's where all the goals are coming from.
Yeah, and I met him once when I was a mascot when I was a lot younger. And I remember
that's the picture that's on your Instagram, isn't it?
Yes, that is a picture that's on my Instagram. You're allowed to have a photo with one player in the team, and I remember that was the time Lukaku was at West Brom, and I think I was the only kid there who didn't pick Lukaku. I went straight to Olsen. He was on the massage table, so I don't think he was ready for that photo. But he's never going to see it, so I can post on social media, I think.
The great thing is you've got an oiled up Olsen next to you.
I was going to say, I didn't realise how lucky I was when I was about 10 back then, looking back.
That's good. Yeah, it must be nice to get your photo taken with him. That's cool. Yeah. Nice.
And the other one's Johnny Evans, and I think he was one of the players. I remember when we signed him, I didn't really know. I obviously knew he played at Man United, and you must be a good player if you make over 150 appearances for Man United, really. And when he came, I don't think I've seen as good a player on the ball in the defence in my time. Right foot, left foot. He played left back. He occasionally played hold midfielder, and he was absolutely insane. And that's why he's still playing so highly. He's playing Leicester now, and he doesn't seem to have aged. He just seems absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
and for the price we paid as well.
Seems to have been around forever, doesn't he? As well, when you look back at it, really, he's like, I remember him breaking into the United team when Scholesy and people like that were still there, and it was like, you're still going now. Yeah,
no, I know what you mean. And again, I listened to a podcast, and they were talking about I think it was Rio Ferdinand. He was on a podcast, and he was talking about his best five-a-side team, and he was saying he'd pick Johnny Evans straight away. He's one of the best ball-playing defenders at Man United. And he said when they used to play five-side in training, Johnny Evans was the player they used to pick because he could all-round play as a defender, and he could move into midfield. Yeah, so I loved him.
That's something going ahead of Vidic and him, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it when I listened to it. I skipped back and was like, I need to listen to this because I need to just clear my ears out. Did he really just genuinely say Johnny Evans straight away?
Yeah.
And he mentioned Johnny Evans, but with his ball-playing centre-back. Yeah.
Well, Ollie did an interview recently saying he can't believe that Man United ever sold him because he thought Johnny Evans would have been, almost like a one-club man for the club. Like, he would have played right well into his, into his 30s and then maybe shifted him on towards the end. So,
he probably should have been as well, because I don't think the centre-backs that United had when he left weren't that great, were they?
Yeah, was it Louis Van Gaal that period when he got in Daily Blind, wasn't it? And look how that worked out. Like, yeah. So I think it was and the price was around 6 million or something like that, 4, 6 mil or somewhere around that. Which at the time, looking back now,
absolutely,
it was just an absolute steal. Like the price, if a defender now, the price you'd pay for that is just ridiculous.
Well, 3 million. for Leicester signing him.
Don't. Those stupid clauses we had in those contracts. Don't.
I know.
We need to learn as a club to not put release clauses in our contracts.
I'm hoping we don't have them anymore.
No. Imagine Pereira going for 3 mil or something like that now. That's a stupid clause.
No.
Anyway, come on. Let's stay positive. Who's going to be left back? Who's finishing the defence?
Left back, it was Robbo. I know you guys, as you said earlier, you've had the pleasure to interview him. He always comes across like a brilliant bloke. And I remember him, that was kind of when I started really getting into football as a West Brom fan. And I remember I think one of my first games, I'm pretty sure he got sent off, and that was the start for me. I loved him after that.
Sounds like him, yeah.
Yeah, as I like to say. And I have one image, and I remember this to this day. I think he was away at Ipswich when I was quite young. I remember getting sent off for I think it might have been an elbow or something, and I fell in love with him just for that. He was just so hard and just brilliant. And then again, he was a good player as well, not just him being a hard-nosed defender. But yeah, I loved him. He was in my happy period as a West Brom fan, as the days when I was younger. I remember having him on the back of my shirt as a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good player.
yeah, absolutely excellent. Absolutely, it's just again, I mean, the defense you've picked there is, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to say that's one of the best defenses I've seen for us having. Arguably there's someone like Macaulay that could.
Macaulay was the honourable
squeeze in
mention,
there.
but I think I'm just biased towards Olson. I
You got your
don't
photo
think
taken with him.
anyone exactly. So he had to go.
If
forward,
Olson is
really.
following you in some way, you can't leave him out, because then all of a sudden Olson's going to be like,
exactly.
we took a
He's
photo
probably
together,
watching
mate. What are you
this.
doing?
Yeah, he's probably watching, going, I'm waiting for my mention. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
Cool. Right, let's jump into these two centre mids.
And the centre mids is the one of my, again, I know I've already said this, but the biggest problem. There are many centre mids, and I feel like I've missed out on so many brilliant players. But I went for two centre mids, which I think were consistent in the Premier League. That was what I went for. I could name a lot of players that did it in the Championship, like Corran, Greening, and many others. And I know as well, Shana was very close to it. But I went for Jakob and Malumbu, because the two of them were just unbelievable. And Jakob especially, that I think Jakob is one of the most underrated players to have played at West Brom. He was absolutely unreal for seasons, like just constantly. I know he loved a yellow card, but again, that's another reason why I loved him. He was just nonsense, was he? He got stuck in, but he still had that class that if he'd break up the play, and he didn't just play it simple, he did have that touch of class. Like, you don't get into the Argentina squad as much as he did. He played the likes of Messi, and then on the Saturday that he was with Olson. Like, it's just, he's a brilliant player. I loved Jakob, and again Malumbu was brilliant. And I think for both of them, I still think we could have potentially got a bit more out of them. A couple, maybe a couple more seasons. Who knows? But especially with Jakob, because he wasn't as old as, I don't know what went on there, because he kind of just faded out the squad quite quickly, wasn't he?
Yeah. Same as Malumbu. I think he was only around the 26, 27 mark. I don't think they were both much older than that, were they? So it's surprising we didn't keep them on, like you said.
Yeah, I loved them, and I remember that season when them two were playing together. That it was just. I remember. Was that Roy Hodge? Was it Hodgson time? That I got that wrong.
Hodgson.
Yeah. Clark, around that period, and again, those two were just unreal.
Well, that defense and those two holding midfielders, nothing's going to get past them.
Yeah, and Malumbu will go on forward, which is what he did. He had those random moments where you think, what's he doing up there? Like, how's he popped up here? Yeah. No, fond memories of, and it was quite nice. I remember, was it Kilmarnock he went to under Steve Clark, and that was quite nice. I remember I became a Kilmarnock fan for quite a while, just watching Malumbu playing with Steve Clark. It's quite a nice thing to see. He was at he went to Celtic. Like, he must have still had it in him after us to have played for the clubs he did. But again, I don't want to start crying.
Is the one thing that is kind of hard about this is that when you do go through all the names and you get to talk about them, and then you think, oh, why did we ever get rid of them?
No, yeah. And you can, and then the problem is you just compare them to now, which is the problem. And I think those are kind of two players we really would love to have right now.
Oh yeah,
in the centre mid. Imagine Jakob and Yukoslu. Wow, like just imagine. Just leave them two to defend, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Bartley and Ajayi have nothing to do.
Yeah, they could sit down, cup of tea, pick flowers, do whatever.
Keep Johnston entertained for a bit. Yeah, just wait for the full-time whistle.
Yeah,
madness. Come on, then let's move on a bit further forward. Who's going to be first pick? Was it a three just in front of us?
It's a three, yeah, it is a three.
Go on then. Go work your way across them three.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the right. And Pereira was an honourable mention, but he didn't just about mate. It would have been Gira for me. Gira was, again, he was my younger brother's favourite player throughout his childhood. And I loved Gira again. He was a brilliant player. And the one thing, as soon as I think of Gira, is obviously the celebration. It's undisputed, one of the best celebrations at West Brom. And that goal against Liverpool, that volley, just, I remember that to this day, and I don't think I'll ever forget that. That was some goal.
It still does the rounds in goal compilations.
I see it every now and then pop up.
Because the one thing that really bugs me with those is you see a lot of compilations where really great goals are always scored against West Brom.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
Wilshere scores a goal and you're like, what? Don't do this to us. Like, we were having hard enough time. But then you see Gira's goal and they're like, hey, we had class. At some point, we had class.
Yeah,
just occasionally. Not too often. We've got little flickers of it.
But when we did,
But no.
it carried.
Gira, definitely. I loved Gira. And then in the number 10 role, this player just about made it, but I feel like he's an Albion legend, Morrison, Mozza. And I thought, you don't play 10 seasons at West Brom. And I still don't think he gets compared to, like, when you look at Brunt's up there. I still don't think Morrison's I know he was injured for probably 2 or 3 seasons across the 10 seasons altogether, but Mozza was a brilliant player again. Like I loved him. He always just had that creative little spark sometimes that we needed in games. And he was a brilliant servant to the club, and it's nice to see him still working at the club in and around the team.
John's a great shout. I've not actually heard anyone say that, but I can fully understand what you're saying there about he's kind of in Brunt's shadow. In kind of a way. But yeah, he was a great servant to the club, wasn't he? So
yeah, and this was one that I was chatting to my dad about earlier, and we were discussing it, and we were saying really, like, the fact when you think about Mozza, like, you remember him being injured and things, but you don't play 10 years for a club if you're not like a top ability. And he's been there in the Premier League and the Championship. Like, he's one of our highest scorers, isn't he, in the Premier League? He always is in. He's in there, and you think, oh, I didn't realise he'd scored that many or whatever. And assists again. Yeah, a brilliant player, and I'm really happy with him. The goal I think of him was against the Blues. It wasn't a great goal, but I don't know why it Blues away, and I think it was a little volley. And I don't know why. I always think of certain players, it just sends me to a goal or to a moment. But I remember him putting it past. I remember watching it on Sky. And I think Ben Foster was in goal for the Blues at the time. Yeah. That's my moment. Didn't he score an absolute brilliant goal against, like, Blackpool many years back again? So I'm having a moment here. I'm just thinking about him, but I feel like
just triggers memories, and you're like,
people,
so good.
Yeah, he's one player that doesn't seem to get mentioned when you consider the fact he's played 10 years at the club. But yeah, I'm glad you guys kind of liking this team so far. That's
good.
That was my worry.
No, I think, James Morrison, I can't speak on your behalf, Ads, but for me, like, if I was tried to sum up the last 20 years with 2 West Brom players, it's Morrison and Brunt. There obviously we've had better players, maybe technically, skillfully, or, you get the likes of, like we say, Macaulay or Foster or whatever, or Olson or Robbo, but those 2 players they're like the modern version of, like, I guess, Tony Brown and Cyril Regis. They're our generations, again, not the that's, probably not as great as they were technically and didn't make as many appearances, but that's our best 2 players we've ever had,
in our lifetimes.
In our lifetime,
and most consistent, like you say, across all those years, they've been the ones that have always been there. So
because you do kind of, with the relegations and promotions, you don't really see many players in the game now, in the modern game, that really stick with a club. And the fact that they've been there in good times and bad times, and they always seem to be those players. One of the first players who always just seem to be there and in around the squad. And brilliant players, both of them. Brunt's made my team. There's the next one.
Leads us
quite nicely in there. And one thing for Brunt, I've never seen a player take dead ball, free kick, corner like it. And I still find myself now, to every corner or every free kick, I always think, Brunt right now, just bring him on us. And when I remember when he mentioned he was in the coaching staff, I was thinking, just get him back in the team, just keep him on the bench, bring him on for the corner. And there's no player from a corner, every chance he had, I remember he just constantly assist after assist. And there was that thing of the most assists in a decade in the Premier League. I think he was quite high up, considering. I remember you see like David Silva and all him, but then Brunt was in there, and I remember thinking in the Premier League, like, wow, like, he was again a brilliant player. But I do feel like everyone knows he's a brilliant player. Like, he's one that does get the right praise. Sorry, and I'm glad he does, because I think
he's the most popular name we've had on this series. And again, you think of just because of everything we've just said, he's a modern day legend.
And we were quite lucky. We obviously spoke to, like you said, you watched the Carl Hopkins one we did, and he said he can't believe he stayed with us. Yeah. He said he could have gone on to way much bigger and better things. He said he could have been like going for a top 6 club in the Premier League. So just to go to show how lucky we were to keep him for that amount of time.
Yeah.
One.
Look, I'm glad we got to see her. And it's those kind of players that you just do feel like, I'm glad that in future years you can talk to people and look back like we're doing now and say like we all got to see him play, and the fact I got to be at the ground and see him play was just brilliant. I'm glad. Very lucky.
Excellent. Right, one player to go. Striker.
See, now I think this guy, Adam Wingate, I know he has a lot of haters out there for what he did for the drive, the whole situation. But I do think he, again, absolutely brilliant player. And again, didn't cost much at the time.
No.
I remember not really knowing much about him because we saw him from, was it Ukraine or Russia, somewhere like that.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking, don't really know much about the player. And he just came in with a bang and he just stayed at that level for a few seasons. And he was consistently 10, 15 goals a season, which you don't see many strikers do that at West Brom.
No.
I was going to say, especially in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because I thought Lukaku, again, good mention, but did it for one season. And then I thought Kevin Phillips, Championship, Rondon, he was good, but
good for
I think Adam Wingate was just, he had everything, didn't he? He had pace, he was technically good, he had that flair, so he could put on a show occasionally. I do think it was I think it was just a shame the way it all kind of like filled out. But I loved him.
I think I remember like when it was the transfer day where that all happened. It was like I think I was at uni and it was like a day off. I hadn't got anything to do, so I was like, cool, watching transfer window day and just sit and sort of see what's going on. And then when that was all going on, I was like, no, Peter, no, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? Why are you doing this to us? But you can forget and forgive things like that because obviously players want to move on to other clubs and stuff, and we bring it up every single time. That's enough for me to forgive him. Puts 3 past Wolves. Yeah, I'll forgive him for most things. Yeah. But
no, he was a brilliant player. Like again, and I keep saying that all these players are brilliant, but he was one. He was the first one actually, other than Olsen. He was the first name on this sheet because I thought I don't think he's got to get in, whether we're playing tip front or not. He's one player who, other than obviously the little drive by, I can let that. I can just push that under the carpet. Just pretend it didn't happen.
Completely. That's a solid team, Sam. I really like that squad. It is, like we say, it's pretty much the best players we've had within the last 20 years. But as I ask everyone, I'm going to ask you: if you had to pick one of these guys to put into the team now, who would you pick?
I've tried thinking about this, and I had a little highlighted next to one, and I'm starting to doubt myself now because I'm really thinking about this exact moment now. We've got Chelsea tomorrow at this time, and I'm thinking, who would I really want in this team? And I'd probably say, and this is a bit left field for me actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to go Robbo, and that might surprise you. It's just I still think him as a playing left back right now. I like Connor Townsend. I think he's a good player, but I still don't think he's brilliant. I think he'll be brilliant in the Championship. Yeah. But I think Robbo somebody we really need, just a hard defender who could really rile the team up as a leader on the pitch, who could really get the players going. Because yes, we're down now, but at least go down with a bit of pride, like really put on really fight, like, and get in the players' face. Because I love that about him, and that's one of the things that I do think this season that we've kind of missed. We haven't had that one player who you think, okay, could really rile the players up. Like we've mentioned some of the players in this team that I've said, there are a few there you could see as leaders. Whereas I look at this team this season, I think Carl Bartley in recent weeks has kind of stepped up to that, but he wasn't there at the start of the season. Yeah. And I think Robbo actually, I've changed my mind. Yeah. So Robbo. Yeah. And if I keep speaking, I'll probably change my mind again. So I'm going to say Robbo. I think he'd be brilliant just right now.
But it's a good good point to make. Like you say, you've brought it up a few times, Ads, while we've been doing this. But we are lacking someone that can just kind of be like, "What are you doing? We're in the Premier League. Act like it." And Robbo's the perfect guy to do that. Just to kick everyone into even his own teammates, just kick them all into shape.
I think we needed
a couple of red cards though, especially VAR. You'd get caught out, wouldn't he?
I know you would. Yeah. No, that's 100% right with that. I think we are lacking someone like that. I think Brunt leaving, obviously, we didn't feel that role, did we? I think maybe Ivanovic, he was looking like that was him to come in and do that kind of role, the leadership and the experience, but it just didn't work out, did it? I think he's going to be on his bus pass next year. So unfortunately, yeah, I don't think it's worked out, but yeah.
So old enough to who my granddad is.
Nice one. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us, Sam, giving us your best 11. I guess the best place for people to find you would be over on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Bucket Hat Sam, but you are on Instagram as well. We'll
I am on Instagram. Yep, all one word, Bucket Hat Sam.
Bucket Hat Sam, excellent. We'll make sure we've got links and everything in the description and on the screen and whatnot. If you've enjoyed that video, please click like and subscribe because those things help us out. Please follow us on all the socials on screen, and we will see you next time. Cheers, guys.